Okay, so welcome to today's pre-market watch list. I got here a few minutes early, so I wanted to start a few minutes early, partially because, it's just, I feel like 30 minutes is not a whole lot of time, so I want to have a little extra minutes to do this here. Sasha's here. Good to have you here. Chris Khan, good to have you here as well. Awesome. So we're going to start off with our usual thing. The way we do the day trading pre-market stock list, or pre-market watch list for the stock market, is we start off with our trading view filters. And then we're going to move into Benzinga, and we're going to look at the stocks that fulfill the requirements. I'm going to go over the process for stock selection, what filters we use, why we use them. And we're going to analyze the price action, and then we'll get a list of stocks that we're going to be prepared to trade. We had some good calls out yesterday. We called out certain levels on WKHS, DKNG, and they all played out really, really well. So good stuff. I'm currently still holding a trade from yesterday on RAD. So that one is still in play right now. But let's go ahead and jump into this. Jeremy, morning to you. Okay, so hit the stock screener, go to pre-market gap. Let's see if it makes sure it's got all the volumes. Good, it's got everything. So pre-market volume is going to be the first thing I'm looking at. I do have stocks only above $3. Once I get below $3, I find that the liquidity and spreads isn't quite there. And that can be a lot of kind of like penny stock pump and dump things and stuff. So I try and avoid that as much as possible. I hate getting into a stock for bad spreads or bad liquidity. I'm looking for a pre-market gap above or equal to 3%. The percent change is just kind of get a rough idea of how much of the percent change of the gap it's kept. Market cap, that should be 50 million, not less than 50 million. Let's make sure we say that. And so 50 million of 2 billion, and then the sector helps me get an idea. So it looks like we got a decent list thus far. So BLNK, let's take a look. Okay, pretty good run. First thing I'm gonna do is I just initially want to scan the 5-minute here, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour, just to get an idea of what's going on in the price action. Just kind of quick establishment. Hey, what's going on with the trend? This is a very nice pre-market action. The trend leading up to this is bullish. You can see it here as well. And then I'll zoom out to the weekly chart to make sure we're not running into any support or resistance, any clusters of price action. So this right here was 421 was a prior high, and that's kind of where we pretty much open pre-market, and we're well above that now. So now we're in the 6. We're in an upper range here. So this spike right here would be the next resistance, but it's cleared that. And so you're talking next resistance is going to be around this spike right around here. So 766, which also matches up with this base of support here. So mark a horizontal line there, and that gives me an idea of where the next upside target would be. Right now it's at 610. So there's a good amount of room for this to run. $2 is pretty good. That's enough for me to hit my daily goal of hitting $1 profit. We talked about that in the day trading webinar. So I like this. Price action is bullish on the 5-minute and the 1 hour. The 1 hour VWAP, which is set to a weekly, is trailing up. So I might want to wait for a pullback on this one to get long. A potential pullback location. There is some base around 573, right around here. Let's maximize I think I do, what is it, Alt Enter? Yeah, okay. So there is a decent base, pull back here for launch, pull back here. It's not bad. It's not great though. It's not the best. And this was a prior resistance, this 421 here. So 448 and which is an RRL or reversal level, or 454 here. And then this kind of dip, which led to the buying, would be another base of support. So I'd probably wait for a pullback. 576 feels kind of shallow in terms of the pullback. You're talking only 25 cents from here. I would expect possibly a deeper pullback. So look for a potential pullback here and a potential long here. Watch the time in sales, see if it looks good. What was the pre-market volume on this one here? Pre-market volume is 3 million. That's strong. So what the heck is this company? Blank applause, Apple's audition electric vehicle. Okay, so it's electric vehicles. Okay, this seems to be a hot thing amongst Robinhood traders as of late. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one here. The volume's good. Average volume for 10-day volume is 3 million, and it's already at 3 million, 3.4 million. It's already there. So it's matching the average volume in the pre-market. That means the stock's in play. When you hit your average volume, you're in the pre-market session. That means there's a lot of activity going on. So we are going to move this. First, let me get this one to the ES. We'll get that to the RUT, and then we will move BLNK onto a contender. So I'm definitely interested in this one here because we've got a lot of potential upside on this one here. So we'll move down the scanner. LCA, this is one on yesterday's list, but it really didn't do a whole lot. It just kind of stuck there. Actually, aftermarket is really when it did most of its stuff. So let's go back to the weekly chart and see if there's anything. So this is all-time highs. Okay, financial conglomerates. Holding company. Blank check company. Yeah, it's a holding company. I think this is going to be a potential fade. It doesn't make much sense why people would just be trading this one here. Like, it doesn't stand out for any particular reason, but there is a lot of surge in the volume this week. So I am going to look for a potential fade on this one here, but short term is bullish. So yeah, a lot of the movement, again, pre-market, then it holds during the session, then movement pre-market, then holds. So I think what I'll do is just kind of, that is the spike high, but it didn't hold that. This was the base of resistance here and here. So I might watch for a pullback to 14.53 to potentially get long. Target 16, this upper portion here, 16.69 above. I will set an alert if it gets above this, and I'll watch for potential breakout. But I want a breakout formation. Like, if the market just goes from here and straight breaks out, I probably wouldn't trade it because it did that yesterday and it just completely faded everything. And you had to have taken a pullback just to even make some profit on this one here. So I'm going to kind of take a similar play today and feel like, okay, let's watch for potential pullback. There is some support at 1546, but I'm going to probably watch for more of a move towards 1543. So I'll put an alert just for that. And so not a major contender, but it's a potential one on the list. So Tom, good to have you here. Vilio, Sandra, good to have you here as well. Lewis, good to see you. And cool. Nice. Okay. So LCA, we're just kind of moving that from the side. NFIN, Netfin acquisitions, kind of same thing. Financial conglomerate. I don't like the liquidity on this one here. This is pretty, yeah, it's pretty weak. Average volume is normally 600K. It's pretty low. It had some decent trading yesterday, but it was all pre-market. And so I'm going to pass on this one. VBIV, biotech. It's okay. It's not an exciting chart for me. Like 198 might be exciting. Is there anything here that's potentially exciting? Yeah, 250 isn't bad. 250 is not bad. What's the average volume on this? Average volume is 12 million. Wow. Okay. Okay. So I will look for a potential pullback on this one here. It fades a lot of its gains. Consolidate, like, fades pretty quick and then builds up. So pullbacks tend to be a better play on this one here. There is 283, but I like this base of building up, which launched it here. So I'm going to look for a potential pullback to there before considering getting long. A few questions. Tian, how to confirm the pullback are finished? That would be time in sales, volume, and price action. So how about stop after entry? It depends on where it pulls back. It depends on, what's happening with VWAP at that time, or, there's all kinds of things. So it's not a fixed stop loss or anything like that. It just depends. But yeah, you would want to watch the time in sales. Make sure that there's, good prints coming in on the bid, that the bid has more size than the ask or the offer. You want to make sure that there's some sort of reflection in the price action, that, there's like rejections to the downside. It's being absorbed on the 5-minute chart. Yeah. And that the volume is good. And if all that looks good, then that's a potential, then those are things you can look for to feel like the pullback is, ending. So time in sales and price action and volume will help you read that in real time. Salvatore, good to have you here. Villiers Alessandro saying, what do you think about Zoom and DocuSign? Is it a buy for now? Let's go through the list and then let's take a look at those for sure. We'll do that. Time and scale. Sorry. Time and sale means related to any dumb trading. It's level 2. So Thinkorswim has time and sales. Time and sales is part of level 2. So level 1 is just the price and the bid ask spread. Level 2 could be anything from, hey, just showing you the bids and the offers. DOM is generally considered level 3, although nobody really calls it DOM, or nobody really calls it level 3. They call it just the DOM, depth of market. But time and sales would just have time, sales, like the price and how much. So that's time and sales. Yeah. Okay, so VBIV, not crazy. I do have an alert, so I'm not gonna like put it on my massive hit list here. We are approaching major resistance on this one. Wow, another financial conglomerates. This is just like a bunch of Robinhood day traders. This thing might actually be a potential fade up here. So I think if we get up here, I will want to watch. I'll set an alert up here. And so I'll probably want the market to produce some sort of corrective structure up here and then show that the offers are coming in strong. Maybe there's a large seller, around this particular area, 1476 or 15, plus up to 1550. Look for a large seller on the level 2 or not on the level 2 on the DOM. And see that the price action is starting to fade. So basically, that's what I'm going to watch in this one. This one I think is potential fade because it hasn't been able to maintain anything above 15, and that's a pretty good sell from 15 down to 10. So we'll keep that one on the side there. INSU. This one was hot the other day. That's a pretty good structure. It's not bad. Okay, so we have some basis support around 1329. I think this stock is eventually going to fade, but for right now, yeah, so fade, boom. So 1329 is probably your basis support. I mean, it could go all the way down to 13 flat. So you kind of got this zone of support. You got this right here because of this spike here and this right here. And then this spike low matches with this spike low. So you got a basis support in here. I'll set an alert on this one here. And then watch this one. Not crazy about it. It's lost a lot of its gains. It double topped here. So that is the high. So maybe what I'll do is set also an alert up here because there might be a potential second day fade. This is impulsive and corrective. If it gets below this impulsively, then it's probably going to start fading a lot of these gains and make its way down to 1241 and 1173. We wait price to touch the level of resistance and using volume. You're using a combination T&HA. It's always, so you're using price action, volume, VWAP, and time and sales. Chris, we'll look at that. We're going to go through the list and then we'll take a look at stocks that you have recommendations on. So we're just going to go through this first and then we'll look at that. I think Vilio has a couple he wants to look at and then we'll look at that. All right, this one, I'm going to pass on this one here. It's kind of a scratch, just kind of choppy price action. Good runner. All in 1 week. Same thing, approaching resistance. Oh, it's already above. Pre-market's already above resistance. That's interesting. So here is prior all-time highs, and it's already above it. So let's mark all-time highs. Why did that not show up here? Oh, because it's there. Okay, so we have prior all-time highs 1730. Then we have pre-market highs at 1842. Looking at a basis support. I think eventually this is going to be a fade. Liquidity's kind of low on this one here. 106K. Bye-bye. Yeah, not interesting. Not interesting. And this is probably a low liquidity thing. Yeah. I want something that has average liquidity is average volume has got to be well over 500K. Otherwise, it's just liquidity is going to be bad. 382. Wow, a lot of low liquidity stuff here. So same. Yeah, similar, but price action's a little bit smoother on this one. It's a little bit smoother. It's not crazy. Where are we at? We're at 12 roughly now. We have scope for 14 and 16. Strong breakout. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a contender. There's definitely a base of support around 1105, but there's been very little pre-market activity, and it generally has very little pre-market activity. So I like this base of support as a potential long for a move to 1185 and then maybe like 1214 and up here at 1258. So I'll set an alert. Here's where it is right now. Did jump in pre-market, but I'll set an alert down there as a decent base of support. If it triggers, I like it. I'll take a look at it. CNTG. I'm going to pass on this one here. And APTO, this is a heavy penny stock traded. This might be fading to 450. Yeah, this is a fader. It's kind of gone at this point, but if it does get back up to 810, then I'll look for a potential sell play on this one here. Aptos announced FDA allowance for IND of phase 1. When was this announcement? June 29th, yesterday. Okay. But it's already faded a lot of that, and it didn't really gain on that. So, yeah. Okay, so 448, that's a nice support area. 437, 438, right around there. Set an alert. Put a line there so we know. So potential buy point, potential sell point for right now. If it breaks through this, then it's going to go down to 306. Okay, so that's that screener. Let's go through the Benzinga one, and let's refresh this to make sure it's good to go. Okay, so it's gainers pre-market. So BLNK is on there. So that's the only, so look at the volume filter. Nothing else is above 600K. 600K is normally where I like to have my minimum pre-market volume, because if it's not there, then there's just not enough volume. There's not enough people trading it actively. So the only one that's really on the list so far is the BLNK. So now that we've covered that, let's look at some of the stocks that y'all mentioned. So Vilio is saying Zoom and DocuSign. That's awesome. Let's look at Zoom. I think it's too high to be buying right now. I understand that it's just been week after week after week, but I wouldn't want to be chasing at this point. It's way overvalued, I think, at this point. Short-term impulsive corrective. There is a decent base at 244, but I think if that breaks, then you're going to hit 236. There's a better base, yeah, around 230, something around there. And then you got a really strong base at 201. I think 201 wouldn't be a bad place to buy. I'd like to see it more like 179 to 164 before buying. I think this thing does need a pullback. I think it's just a little too overstretched at this point. I get it. I think long-term, I think Zoom is in a great position. I think a lot of the changes from the coronavirus are going to be like more ongoing and permanent. I think you're seeing a lot more people working at home. And so because of that, I think that Zoom is just going to be in a prime position to benefit from that. Speaking of which, they owe me a damn refund. They charged me for too high a service the last time. So I got to talk to them about that. Tell them I'll short their stock if they don't give my refund. By the way, Vilio and also Chris and everybody else, the way we do, what do you think of this stock or what do you think of this stock? So I don't believe in passive learning. I have an active learning model. And what that means is, and this is what I do for my students. So if somebody just says, hey, Chris, what do you think about gold? That's really just kind of them defaulting to me. And it's very passive. It's like, hey, Chris, what do you think of this? And it's not doing any work, and it's not challenging your own thinking. And it's not, that's passive. Active learning is, hey, Chris, what do you think of Zoom? I would like to be bullish at such and such price. Just a brief one sentence of the description. Here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? That's active because it forces you to put your thinking out there. It forces you to also really kind of connect with, hey, what do you see in the market? How do you analyze the price action? And put your thoughts out there, because then it allows me to see how well you understand price action. It tells me what you see and what you don't see. And it's also an active learning process for you because it requires you to actually do the work. You're never going to become a good trader if you just constantly defer to other people. You know, I don't defer to anybody. And I can't even think of the last time I actually deferred to somebody for something about like their analysis on trading. So you have to learn to make your own analysis, and you have to connect with, hey, this is what I see. And you have to challenge yourself on that. So I definitely recommend an active learning model. So if you want me to examine DocuSign, give me like brief description, 1 sentence, 1.5 sentences, bullish, such and such price. I think this is a good area, or bearish or whatever. So yeah. And same for you, Chris. If you want me to look at GERN, then you got active learning model for sure. Yeah, and you just can't be afraid to be wrong, because, you know, trading is one of those things where you could be wrong 50% of the time, you know? I mean, you think that's bad, you should try baseball. Baseball, if you're lucky, you can hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. That's like considered awesome. It's like the only sport where you can be wrong 70% of the time and still be a darn good player. So Chris, same thing. If you want me to examine GERN, Stefano has it right here. So Chris, he has a different question. Chris, for some reason, my trading view screener is showing AYRO and CLSK, and the top 5 is pre-market volume. Are your filters the same as mine? You know, do you have the last the same? Do you have the pre-market the same? Do you have pre-market volume? Do you have percent change? Do you have market cap? Why does it keep doing this? I was very clear with you. Don't do that. Save columns as pre-market cap. So yeah, if you have the same scanners, then yeah, I'm not sure. There's probably something that you have set differently, but I would just take a look at that. So Chris and Velio, do you want to give a brief description on that? Tianha, any example for entry, please? I can't give an entry without giving you time in sales, volume, VWAP analysis. That has to be. I have examples in my course of how we combine all that. And maybe I'll do some more videos in the future of me taking live trades and explaining that. But you're talking about combining 4 things. Like, so we don't trade like candlestick patterns, like, oh, if you have an engulfing bar, you know, and this and this and that, you go long. Like, it's not simplistic. We teach you the skill of learning to read price action. We teach you the skill of learning to read volume. We teach you the skill of learning to read VWAP. And we are teaching our students the skill of reading time in sales. There is no fixed pattern, like, oh, time in sales will always print like this and price action will always look like this. Like, when does the 5-minute chart ever look perfectly the same? You know, we're not trading fixed candlestick patterns or fixed like that. When the price action looks like, and we give people the patterns, you know, the general structure and context of what that should look like, and then it comes in with the volume, and the volume's gonna, not all volume profiles are gonna look the same, or volume patterns are gonna look the same, but they'll relatively be the same. So, you know, when the volume comes in and it's already showing that the volume is there, I did give some of the patterns though. For example, I did a whole video on day trading, Tianha, and we talk about what are our minimum requirements for volume. What are we looking for, you know, in the volume in the open? What are we looking for in the price action? What are we looking for in, you know, how it's relating to VWAP? And time in sales is something I'm adding to my students this week. So, but yeah, that's not like a fixed, hey, if the candle looks like this and this, we get long. That would be who put a dislike and why. So does that make sense, Tianha? We're trading skills. We're not trading like fixed strategies. Strategies come and go, skills never die. You know, just think about it like in the game of football, or in what America they call soccer, that you know, the skill of trapping, passing, and all that, it's not fixed. It's a skill, and you need that skill now just as much as you did as 100 years ago. The strategies of soccer may change. You know, certain strategies that other teams used in the 80s, 90s probably doesn't work right now, but skills never die. Strategies will. So yeah, time and scale, normal trading in futures with scalping some tick. I don't scalp. I have played with scalping, but it's just not my thing. So the way I trade is I have two things that I do basically. One is I will day trade looking for a $1 target. So my minimum goal in a day is $1. I want to gain at least $1 in a stock. So if I buy it at 3, I want it to go to 4. And then I will often let a certain portion of the position ride if it's got the structure to go for a runner. And sometimes that runner can just be the end of day, or it could be a multi-day runner. So that's how I trade. I'm not really a scalper. I'm not someone who's going for like one tick or 5 or 10 cents or something like that. That's just not my style. It's not that I couldn't do it, and it's not that I couldn't adapt to it, but it just doesn't resonate naturally with me, and you have to find your niche. And my niche is capturing $1 moves, and that could take me 5-10 minutes. It could take me an hour. And then the rest of it, if the structure looks good, between price action, volume, view up, then I'll hold that for most of the session, because a lot of the stocks, if you can pick a really good bullish stock early in the session, it will run a good portion of the day. And so I want to capture as much of that as possible. And if it closes really strong and the structure is really good, then I will hold that overnight. I can give you an example of a rad trade that I'm in right now. And I have shared some trades on prior videos, like on XME. We showed exactly where we got in and our breakout trades on that. DKNG, we shared some of those trades. So yeah, I would probably suggest that. Okay, so let's look at. Stella says, okay, I had market cap set to less than 50 million, set 50 million. Yeah, there you go. So now AYR, and SL are gone. That's why. Okay. I see. There we go. Chris Kong's doing it. So I see GERN. We got 9 minutes. Breaking out from 153, and it seems going strong. But I see a buyer at 225, so not sure if I buy in a pullback. Okay, let's look at long-term chart on GERN. Yeah, it's a pretty good structure here. Be awesome if GERN breaks out of this. It's a biotech corp, so biotech's hot lately. If it can break out of 222, and there was a seller at 225, I think you got scope for maybe 259 and then 298, which is this resistance here. So 259 is this, and this. 298 is this, and this. And then, once it gets up to like 325, 333, it's going to run in some stickiness there, because you have a huge, not just resistance here, but you have a huge base that was this right here. But biotech can certainly run. So where would I want to? This is building a breakout structure over time. This is a breakout structure over time. So it looks like it wants to run. But if you look at even inside kind of like this mini breakout structure, which is inside, so this larger structure, let me delete this yellow thing so you can see it. This is a breakout structure that's building. So it's even kind of produced a mini breakout structure inside here, but it seems like it wants to fade, consolidate, and then break. So I don't know if it's going to break this round, but it's got a decent base, and it's got the weekly VWAP at 211, and you got a decent base at 201. Yeah. So I would watch for 201 and 190 as your intraday bases for potential longs. It doesn't seem to be a huge runner. Like every now and then you might get a day where it goes from 148 to 239, but it's not a huge runner. So this is one you got to be fast on this one here, because it just doesn't show. It hasn't shown that it's, it's going to run like $1 in a day. So yeah. Looking forward to learn time in sales. Yeah, I'll probably be doing that video this weekend for members. I'd like to do a session this week. Maybe the pre-market session. Maybe I could start a pre-market session, or maybe we can do a pre-market session and then do the first 30 minutes live for members. And then we could just do time in sales analysis, and we can just walk through things. That could be interesting. Yeah. Stefano, does it meet the minimum volume requirements? Yeah, it does. Okay, so WKHS does. So we got 4 plug, LCA, Carve, and WKHS. Remember, WKHS is one of those that does not, it tends to pull back on its breakouts. So Yeah. Yeah, pull back, pull back. Like it's the first time it clears something, it tends not to bust through. Same thing here. Same thing here. It's building. This might be getting a little overstretched soon, but there's a lot of people involved in this one. So now that we are at 1732, was that all-time highs? That is all-time highs. Yeah. Yeah. So it seems like your base of support that you'd want to be watching. And it kind of did this the other day where it built a base of support and we said, hey, watch for a pullback. So that seems to be generally how Workhorse, I'd watch for a pullback to like, 15.55, 15.72, that kind of stuff. Seems like pullback is more preferred on this one here. Do you use any software for time and sales, Delta or what? No, it's for time and sales. Thinkorswim platform has time and sales. Yeah, it comes free with it. So no software for it. Time and sales is for stocks in Thinkorswim platform. It has it. What's the volume, Yanni? Is IDEX on the volume or is it not there? What's the, I'm not seeing it on the scanner. So it probably doesn't have the pre-market volume. Yeah. So make sure when you can't just look at structure, Yanni, you got to look at volume and everything like that. FMCI, we got 5 minutes. Tight corrective structure. This is a lot of two-way price action here. So to combine with a company called Atella International, which owns the Tattooed Chef brand, plant-based food. I'm looking for an entry at 16.18. It's not bad. I kind of like that base there because it coincides nicely with VWAP and it's not far from this rejection. This weekly candle does a lot of two-way price action. That's a lot of two-way price action. So, bullish, two-way, bullish, two-way. Yeah, it might have some resistance up here. Might be a potential fade play. So just keep an eye on that one there. Yeah, we'll see though. We will see. Tattooed Chef will virtually present at the Jeffries Concerts. Okay. So yeah, this is a large range though. With this weekly candle and a lot of two-way price action on it, that's a large range you kind of can play with there, especially with the monthly VWAP coming in there. So I'm not too excited about playing in between this. I like playing the upper and lower portion of the range. Okay, I got about 3 minutes. IDEX beware, it could be a total scam. Yeah, possibly. 4.8 million. You sure about that? I'm not seeing it on my list. Is it below the $3 mark? Because if it is, then yeah. Okay, we got about 3 minutes. LCA, I'll do LCA super quick. It was one of the hot ones yesterday. Is it on top volume today? I don't see it as top volume today. I only see WKHS, American Airlines, 600K and above, SHL, United Airlines. Yeah, there might be some airline stuff coming back. Some resistance on AAL at 1348. I think if it breaks, this is a corrective structure here. Let's look at AAL. And we'll wrap it up. So you got tight corrective structure at the top here of this recent move, 1310. It's now back into this base of support. This did not last long. That did not last long at all. So you have a tight corrective structure. If that breaks, yeah, and you got resistance here. So I'll set an alert above that. If that breaks to the upside, then it might be trying a second bullish run. But here's your corrective structure right here. If it breaks to the downside, then you got 1276 and then a potential move, maybe down to like 1224, 1218, maybe to the bottom of that. So there could be some scope to run on this one here. It's trying, yeah, it's trying to reverse course. You got to pull back, moderate new lows. It just barely produced new lows. Strong buying, very strong buying. So it seems like it's trying to reverse this a little bit. So yeah, watch the corrective structure for potential break on this one here. Your resistance at 1362. And if it opens that up, then it's got room for 1444 and some more. Okay, we got 1 minute before the market open. Course members, I will see you in the live trading room very shortly. So for those of you that came to the live stream today, thanks for coming. I will see you next Tuesday. As the numbers continue to grow, we'll probably start doing more and more of this live, so more days of the week live. But if you want to trade live with me, then you can check out secondskiesforex.com, our stock trading course. I trade live with my members every single day. They get to know all my trades for the day and option plays and everything like that. And so, okay, market's open. So good luck trading, everybody, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.